Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of Pregame Kettle Talk. I'm Matt McHugh, joined by Matt Liberman, and a big day for the Kettleers yesterday. A doubleheader, 18 innings of baseball. The big news, though, came in the first game when they clinched a playoff spot with a win over Hyannis. What stood out, Matt, in that big win for the Kettleers?
Well, in a word, hitting. I mean, they scored 11 runs on 15 hits. That's a season high for Cotuit, and the win puts them over the top, gets them into the postseason for the first time since 2015. So very impressive win. Again, when you look against games that happen at noontime rather than what they're used to, 5, 6 o'clock, that has a whole different mindset going into it. Players aren't on as much rest. They're coming off a game in which they lost in a heartbreaking fashion to Falmouth the night before in an extra innings game that went much later than they expected. So not a lot of rest, and they came out and they queued up on the ball so well. Michael Tolia hit a home run. Chandler Avent went 4 for 5. You were getting everything from the guys that haven't been playing their best baseball. They came around against Hyannis, and I think that was the best thing that you saw from Cotuit.
And then looking ahead to today's game, the Kettleers square off against the Bourne Braves for the final time in the regular season. And Matt, you can just take one wild guess who's pitching today for the Kettleers. It's Jason Bilous yet again.
Yeah, I'm not really exactly sure what to say at this point. 7 starts, 5 against Bourne. There isn't really much to say about it. Sometimes he pitches well against them, sometimes not. Sometimes I predict he will, sometimes I predict he won't, and it tends to flip-flop pretty much every single time. I'm not exactly sure where to even go. All you can say at this point is he has a lot of experience against them, and they have a lot of experience against him. So that, at this point, that could pretty much stray either way. I'm not really sure who's the favorite in this one.
And now we'll toss it over to our own Biernat standing fieldside with Coach Roberts.
Thanks, guys. Now, Coach, I haven't got the chance to talk to you about it since it happened, but you did clinch a playoff spot yesterday after the win at Hyannis. And last year, you guys didn't make the playoffs, so how happy are you to be back in it this year?
Well, it's always good to be in the playoffs. I mean, for the players, I think they'll find out that the atmosphere changes dramatically in just a couple of days to the playoff atmosphere here. And for our fans, we have great fans. They travel more than any team in the Cape. Also, you hear them everywhere, and we want our fans to enjoy playoff baseball. So, yes, I'm very pleased for all of those parties.
Now, speaking of the playoffs, you guys played in some very playoff-like games these past 3 out of the last 4 nights. Can you kind of talk about how that'll benefit your team as you guys head into the playoffs, having some high-intensity games under your belt?
Well, there's no doubt. It's like the Cubs last weekend with Milwaukee Brewers. They had playoff baseball when they had 2 or 3 one-run games, and we've had the same thing with Falmouth and Bourne and Hyannis and Wareham. So it always benefits you. I sometimes have told my players to start out the season, if we play 44 one-run games, 1-0, 2-1, 3-2, I think it's good for us because I think you learn how to compete. You also, if you make mistakes or we have failure, you learn how to handle failure in a very tough situation and bounce back from it and hopefully handle that ball or that situation better the next time. So always good to play great baseball games in tough situations.
Now, looking towards tonight's game, you'll finally back at Lowell Park after playing 3 games in the last 24 hours, all on the road. How is it going to be to play at Lowell Park the next couple of days as you kind of prepare for the playoffs? Any benefits to being at home?
Well, yes, there's always benefits to play at home. I've said for years I cherish the 22 home dates that we have here at Lowell Park. The years we play doubleheaders like this year, obviously it's 21 home dates, but still 22 home games. It's just a beautiful place. It has great ambiance. The players love playing here. They love practicing here. Our fans, when they fill up these new stands behind our dugout, 600 deep, and another 400 on the first base line, and another 500 to 1,000 in chairs along the side. It's a great atmosphere to play in. So we look forward to playing home today and tomorrow.
And we saw Thomas Dillard in left field in both games yesterday, a position that we hadn't seen him in this year yet with Cotuit, and he will be in there again today. Is this something that you're paying a little more attention to as you head into the playoffs?
I am. You take a look at offense, defense, who brings what to the club at certain times, and I think Brett Kenneman's an outstanding outfielder. He's just played great for us and played almost every inning up until about a week ago. So I'm resting a couple of people. I think we're working on some things offensively with Brett and a couple other guys. Thomas played left field all spring at Ole Miss, so it is a position he's familiar with. So I just feel good that trying to get his bat in there. He's a switch hitter. He's driven the ball in the gap some. So I want to give him a chance to play out there for a couple of days, and Brett will be back in there very soon.
Well, thank you, Coach, and good luck today.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
Thanks, Kara. And then in today's game, a lot of stakes for the Kettleers. Now, they already have clinched a playoff spot, but there's still a lot to play for in these last few games. Playoff seeding still yet to be determined. Matt, what stands out to you in terms of the stakes for today's game?
Well, one thing that I think might be pretty inevitable at this point is that they play Bourne in the playoffs. I mean, the matchups against Bourne all season long have been pretty split. So in looking at the playoffs, I would expect the same thing. But in looking at the regular season, the remaining regular season, I should say, Falmouth and Wareham play tonight. So if Falmouth wins, it looks like they are the clear-cut favorite for the #1 seed, because then after the game against Wareham, they close with 2 games against Hyannis, the West Division's worst team, the only team eliminated from playoff contention should Wareham win tonight. And so in looking at that, it looks like Falmouth will be the #1. But in looking at Bourne and Cotuit's position, they could flip-flop at either 2 or 3. Wareham looks like they will finish #4, because should Cotuit pull out a win tonight, they automatically will finish in the top 3. They just need 1 win in their final 3 games in order to finish ahead of Wareham. And so I would expect Falmouth to be the 1 and Wareham to be the 4, and then it could flip-flop between Bourne or Cotuit for 2 and 3, but they played each other so much this season on each other's fields and have come out with wins at each opposing field, I should say. And so I'm not quite sure that it matters all that much, but it looks like they will be the 2 and the 3.
And a big key for Cotuit heading into this postseason, well, the last few games of the regular season, is going to be the bullpen. They had to use 6 pitchers for all of 18 innings yesterday. They made it through, but it's still a pretty depleted pitching staff at this point in the year. And Matt, what's going to have to happen with this bullpen these last couple days?
I think that we might see some position players get some action on the mound. And looking at the bullpen today, for people that are active, Thomas Dillard is active in the bullpen, as is Brett Kinnaman. Those are the 2 top position players that will toe the rubber should they need to. So I think that that's something, I don't know if it necessarily will happen. I think we're all rooting for it to happen, just because that is always a spectacle to see. I mean, we see it in the MLB on occasions. We haven't seen it yet this season. I personally would love to see it. Taylor Lehman said yesterday that the bullpen is the key come time for the playoffs, and I think that having position players be in the bullpen tonight could be key for them to rest their bullpen arms come playoff time. So not only is it a smart tactic, but I think it's something that we'd all love to see.
And now hopefully we don't have to see that, but if it comes to that, we will see it tonight. And we'll go field side to Kara Biernat with Thomas Dillard right now.
Thanks, guys. Now, Thomas, yesterday we saw you at left field in both games, and again we're going to see you there today. I know you're a natural catcher. Do you feel comfortable out there, and do you see an outfield as a spot for you as you progress your baseball career?
Right. I played left field at school all year this year, so it is a spot that I'm comfortable at. But I like to play whatever position I can do to help the team out. And
you are a switch hitter. You have a lot of raw power. Is there a side that you would say is more comfortable for you and that you do produce a little more power from?
I'm naturally left-handed, so I guess I'd have to say left-handed, but I think I'm pretty equal from both sides.
And we've also seen you get a lot more regular playing time, and you've taken full advantage of it from the plate. Did you make any adjustments that have allowed you to be so hot from the plate recently?
Yeah, I've just tried to stay quiet at the plate and just put more barrels on the ball and focus on putting it in play more and just not so many swing and misses.
And as you guys do wrap up the regular season and head into the playoffs, can you kind of talk about the experience that you've had playing in the Cape League this summer and the bond that you've created with these guys?
Right, it's been a great experience. Everyone from the top to the bottom of the team I've gotten to know, and it's been fun. And hopefully we can make a long run in the playoffs and bring a championship back to Cotuit. And I'm coming back next year, so I'm looking forward to coming back next year too.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Thomas, and good luck today.
No problem.
Back to you guys.
Thanks, Kara. And as we hinted at earlier, big key for the Cotuit is going to be the pitching in these last couple days. And now I'm here with Sean Ellertson. Sean, your key to today's game, is it going to be the pitching?
It's going to be the pitching, but it's going to be Jason Bilous, and not just how he does, but how deep he goes into this game. Obviously, with the doubleheader yesterday, the bullpen is still a little tired. They used 6 pitchers, so I still think they're going to be a little bit shorthanded out of that bullpen. But if he can go 5 or 6 innings, this team should be in good shape for the final 2 games of the regular season and then to the postseason.
Absolutely. And then finally, Sean, what's your one X factor for today's game?
It's not just clutch hitting or clutch pitching, it's clutch performances in general. A couple of these last games have been really close. 2 walk-off losses, especially last night against Wareham and Falmouth. So just those pitchers getting those final 2 outs in an inning or the final out in an inning and getting a guy an extra 80 or 90 or 180 feet around the bases to provide a couple more runs for this team.
And there you have it. Thank you to everyone for today's pregame Kettle Talk. For Matt Liberman, Kara Biernat, and Sean Ellertson, I'm Matt McHugh. First pitch today is at 4:30 at Lowell Park.